今天呢，我们来到蒙特利尔的著名的男校 Selwyn House。Selwyn House 呢，始建于1908年，有100多年的历史，出来了加拿大众多的名人啊，包括像加拿大著名的家族伯克夫曼家族、Molson 家族，他们的孩子都在这边上学。还有呢，前驻华大使麦加连、埃隆·马斯克曾送3位富豪上太空，其中一位富豪呢，就来自于这所学校，并且呢，这位富豪呢，还与我们 Selwyn House 的学生在太空进行了连线。今天我们有幸能见到 Selwyn House 的校长
Mr. Downey. As a central-old boys' school, what is the advantage of this school, and why choose this school?
We're really the only boys' school left in Montreal. We were founded in 1908, so we've been around for 116 years. There's a lot of history. I think what makes us the school we are is we're a small school with lots of activities. We know what works best with boys. We believe very strongly in how boys learn, and we make sure that our curriculum follows that. We do believe boys need to play with stuff. They need to try stuff. They need to learn how things work by playing with things. We run really good classes for boys. But at the same time, because we're a small school, there's lots of activities the boys can get involved with. We believe in building the whole child. Academics are important, and academics are the most important thing in every school. Good academics should be non-negotiable. Every school should be running solid academics. We believe in building the whole child, which means we want our boys to experience the arts. We want our boys to experience leadership. We want our boys to experience sports. So we try to wrap all those things in together to make each boy the best version of themselves.
You mentioned more like our school pay more attention for the sports and, for example, leadership. Does it mean like we pay less attention for the academy?
I don't think so. It's one of those ones where I think they go hand in hand. They all go together. As we develop the boys to be solid citizens and solid human beings going out into the world, but at the same time we need to have them to have the courage to stand up for what they believe in, to have the confidence, and that comes through leadership, which you can get in sports. You can get by being in a school play or being on a debating team, to not just know the answers, but to make good decisions and to stand up for what you believe in. But no, academics are the foundation of all schools.
Yes, for sure. What is the educational philosophy of the Selwyn House? Does it influence the curriculum and teaching method?
We're a relational school. For us, it's very, very important that we build the community and build relationships amongst the staff and the student teacher. Our education philosophy is a little bit about, again, kids playing with stuff. Boys need to experience things. So we would say that the way we teach is an experiential style where for example, in senior physics, instead of giving a kid a formula, they'll play with stuff. They'll drop balls off the roof. They'll calculate things and develop their formulas that way, as opposed to being just told what things are. And the idea is that kids learn more by building a little robot that runs across the floor than being able to solve a difficult math problem. So it's about playing with stuff. It's about using their hands. And boys in particular need to move. They need to be up. They can't just sit still for long periods of time. So we incorporate that into how classes are taught. We believe it's how they learn best.
What kind of qualities does Selwyn House place more emphasis on developing in children?
Like I said before, the academics are really, really important, but we actually believe the character education piece or how we develop these young kids into being young adults is important. We need to make sure that we are graduating kids who they have to be smart and they have to be able to do the academics, but at the same time, they have to be good people. They have to treat people properly. They have to have respect, kindness. They have to go out into the world and be leaders.
So leaders is our goal, right?
100%. We want our kids to be leaders in every stretch of the imagination. We want them to be leaders in politics, leaders in science, leaders in medicine, leaders in climate change and all that kind of stuff, because this is the world that they're graduating into. Yes. So we place a lot of emphasis on making sure we're developing really good people.
The language like French or English is also like a skill to do evaluation to enter to the Selwyn House, or especially for the young kids.
Yeah, there's being in Quebec, we're required to follow the Quebec curriculum, so we have to meet certain Quebec standards. That being said, is as long as a kid by grade 3 or 4 has knowledge of one of those 2 languages, they'll be fine.
So Mr. Downey, percentage between French and English? Have more French for the elementary school, less French in like middle school?
So what we do is from kindergarten to grade 3, it's
Mm.
about 70 to 75% in French their school day,
Wow.
and about 30% in English, mostly because most of our kids are not French. Like most of our kids, French is their second or third language. And
Yes.
because of that, we want to really emphasize French
In
early
French.
on, especially when they're little. In grade 4, 5, and 6, it's 50-50. They spend half their day in English, half their day in French.
Okay.
In 7 to 11, they have a French class, and they also have to take another class in French. It's in grade 7 and 8, it happens to be géographie. In grade 9 and 10, it happens to be Histoire, the history of Quebec and Canada. They have to take in French. And then in grade 12, we have a grade 12 program. In grade 12, they don't have to take any French. It depends on where they want to go to university, because by the time they get to grade 12, they have to be taking the courses that they need to get into the programs that they want to get into. So if they're going to, University of Toronto or Harvard, taking a French class is not necessarily going to help
Yeah,
them.
that's
If
right.
they want to go to Université de Montréal, then they would be taking a French class in grade 12.
French.
So grade 12 is a little bit specialized based on where they want to go after.
So as some Chinese kids, before they do the interview with the Selwyn House, do they need to learn a little bit French? Have at least like a minimum French level, where they don't need?
If their English is strong, they're going to be okay.
Okay.
Obviously, any help they can get ahead of time learning always will help. It's like anything. If you do a little bit of math before a math class, it helps. But as long as they're strong in English, they should be fine. But they'll have to recognize when they get here, they have to
learn
work
French.
hard and focus in class and do all of their homework and that kind of stuff. Having some French will help them, but they wouldn't have to. They can go into the lower French. We'll get families move here from New York City, and who have no French whatsoever, and they come into grade, 7 or 8. Again, you have to recognize that it's like walking to a math class with no math. You have to pay attention and work hard to get caught up, and they may require tutoring outside of school, but it's possible, but they have to. It's a challenge for them.
Yeah, I think they need to work hard in French, right?
They have to work very hard.
Different boys have different interests. For example, if the boy is interested for like a high level of the mathematics, like a competition, so do you provide like all kinds of the activities for the older boys?
Yes. So we actually, one of our beliefs is that we need to find the passion for every single boy.
Passion.
Every boy has something that they're passionate about. It could be being in a school play. It could be math. It could be science. And I think one of our jobs as a school is to help them find their passion and develop it. So we do a lot of math competitions, and there's more and more as you go from grade 7 up to grade 11 and 12. Because once you get to those higher levels, there's lots of big universities, both in the United States and Canada, that run these math competitions. And we have a really big contingent of boys that love them. They actually get involved. It's not a different kind of math, but it's kind of like a challenge as opposed to just doing homework. So consequently, we have, and we just had a kid qualify to go to a camp this summer in Canada, and another kid qualify to go to a camp in the United States because they did so well on a math competition. These boys are grade 11 and 12. But again, we want to challenge every boy. Whatever each boy's passion is, we find a way to celebrate it.
So what role does the community play in the life of Selwyn House? Are there any particular partnership and initiative you are proud of?
I think it's important that our students understand that we're not just working in a bubble. There's a whole community outside of here. So we do a lot of stuff. We work a lot with, there's a local seniors organization called Contactivity. Contactivity is they do all kinds of projects. But stuff that we do is we had a situation where they have a lunch the last Friday of every month, and we have our grade 4 boys go out there and they help serve. Many of these elderly come into the school during the week and eat and run activities. They actually do coursework with some of our boys. Some of our boys in middle school will teach them about computer technology and how printers work and computers work, because sometimes these are scary for older people. We had a program with them during COVID where it was called Leave Out Loneliness, where we had boys assigned to seniors, and they contacted them once a week just to talk. Because sometimes during COVID, people got shut in. We do an awful lot of work with an organization called the Canadian Concussion Legacy Foundation. They are a leading expert in how brains work, but brain trauma and how brains can get hurt through concussions. But they do a ton of work. They actually talk about brains and how brains develop across the board. So we've actually had speakers come in to talk to the boys and to the parents about things you can do to make your brain work better if it's in a math class, or work better if it's on in a drama production or in debating scene. So it's not just about sports. We do a lot of work there. We have a tight connection with McGill. We do a lot of work with their student teachers. So we try to build as many of these as possible. Our grade 11s, for example, have, 2 days a year where they're out in a community working, and they can sign up for stuff, but they'll go spend a day at a soup kitchen, or they'll go spend a day at a homeless shelter, or they'll go spend a day at a food bank. So we do believe it's important as an organization or as a school. It's part of the kids' education. They need to know what's out there, and they need to know that they have to give back and help others.
So as a lot of Chinese parents, they focus more on academic aspect. I know for some schools, they have the IB program, which is very famous in the Chinese community. They know the IB program is well recognized. For Selwyn House, what kind of program do we have?
So the IB is a great program. It's one of those ones we've talked about it in the past. We've chosen not to follow the IB program. I think there's a lot of very good, strong academic programs out there. We do run an accelerated, in particular, math and science program in the high school, where kids can actually, get university credits in grade 11 for both physics and for math. That's the direction we've gone with our senior boys.
In Quebec, we have our own system like CJAP. A lot of Chinese parents, they think that if the kids go to the Quebec system, if the kids plan to go to US, for example, some good university like Ivy League universities. I mean, if Selwyn House, they have kind of AP program which is recognized in US, so that will help them to go enter into the good universities.
It's tricky. Unfortunately, university entrance is a bit of a game.
Yeah.
So when our kids get to the end of grade 11 in Quebec, they have a variety of options. One option is CJEP, and you can go from CJEP to an Ivy League school. We had a kid a few years ago go from Marianopolis, which is local CJEP, to Princeton. So it does happen. We run a grade 12 program as well, and our grade 12 students will go directly from us to universities. CJEPs are something that's done in Quebec and nowhere else. So they're not understood very well outside of Quebec. But they're strong programs, and they do prepare those kids for those where they're going afterwards.
Yeah, I heard that in 2022, Elon Musk took 3 billionaires to space, one of whom was a Selwyn House graduate. Could you please introduce some other notable alumni of the Selwyn House?
Yeah, absolutely. With the long history we have, there's lots of different alumni in there. We have some of the very influential Montreal families because we're older. So Bronfmans, Molsons, Demarez, they've had their kids here. In the Canadian Parliament, the Speaker of the House is Greg Fergus, who's a Selwyn House.
Okay.
We have had 2 different chancellors of McGill, Conrad Harrington in late 70s, as well as Michael Meehan, who was the chancellor of McGill from I think about 2014 to 2021. We had John McCallum, who was actually the ambassador to China.
Yes.
2007 to 2019. He's a Selwyn House graduate. There's a lot of alumni out there. And one of the nice things about an older school is we have a very engaged alumni group. They're very supportive of our kids. They're very supportive of helping us out. So like I said, Greg Fergus, who's the Speaker of the House in Ottawa, he came and spoke last year at the school to talk about his experience and stuff. So we have a lot of notable alumni. Yeah, we actually have alumni all the time in the school. They're always here helping for a variety of ways.
Okay.
We have a lot of lawyers, doctors, businessmen, but they are supportive. They do have a deep attachment to the school, which is nice.
Selwyn House located in Westmount. There are other private schools. Do you have any activities with other school co-activities, especially with a boys' school? Yeah. Maybe with some girls' school, you have some activities?
Absolutely. We actually, as I said before, we're looking at our the education of these young boys to become quality young men. So we have to be running activities with the girls' schools. So we have a Friday night ski club where the kids can go downhill skiing, but we do, middle school, just in middle school, to give you an idea, they do a science Olympics with one of the girls' schools. They do a book club with another one. They do there's a variety of dances and movie nights. So as the kids go through school in grade 5 and 6, they have parties per se, but they're organized and controlled parties that just so that they have a chance to socialize. But by the time they get to middle school, we were running a bunch of activities with the girls' schools because again, it's part of their education. It's just part of them being good men.